I don't eat. Ever. The words land cold and final, echoing across the vast marble kitchen as Olivia Carter stands frozen, rainwater still dripping from the hem of her coat onto a floor that probably costs more than her entire apartment. Her fingers tighten around the strap of her worn bag, heart pounding so loud she's sure someone can hear it. This wasn't supposed to happen. 30 minutes ago, she was just doing a favor, covering a last-minute catering shift for a friend who swore it would be easy money. Just prep, serve, leave. But somewhere between the wrong address and the towering iron gates that slid open like something out of a movie, everything went off script. Now she's here, inside a mansion that feels more like a museum, standing in front of a man who hasn't even looked at her twice, but somehow controls the entire air in the room. The staff had barely glanced at her before handing her an apron and whispering, "You're late." He's been waiting. Waiting? For her? She almost corrected them, almost said there had been a mistake, but then she remembered the overdue rent notice sitting on her kitchen counter, the voicemail from the hospital about her brother's next bill, the number she couldn't afford to ignore. So she stayed quiet. And now here she is. "I can make something else," she says, her voice softer than she intended, trying to steady it as she glances at the untouched plate on the counter, something perfectly plated and completely ignored. The man, Ethan Blake, though she doesn't know that yet, finally turns his head slightly, just enough for her to catch the sharp line of his jaw, the exhaustion in his eyes, something deeper than simple disinterest. "Don't," he says flatly. "It won't matter." He starts to walk away, and for a second, Olivia feels the urge to let him, to grab her things and disappear before anyone realizes she doesn't belong here. But then she inhales, slow and steady, and something inside her shifts. If she's already in the wrong place, she might as well do one thing right. She sets her bag down, rolls up her sleeves, and moves toward the stove like she's done 1,000 times before in kitchens that were too small, too loud, too unforgiving. Except this time, everything is quiet. Too quiet. She opens the fridge, scanning ingredients she barely recognizes, then closes it again. No, she knows what she's making. She doesn't need fancy. She needs real. 30 minutes later, the scent fills the room. Warm, simple, unmistakably human. Chicken soup. The kind her mom used to make on nights when everything felt like it was falling apart. She ladles it into a bowl, her hands steady now, and places it gently on the counter. "Just try it," she says, barely above a whisper. Silence stretches. Then footsteps. He pauses. Doesn't sit. Doesn't speak. Just stands there, staring at something he clearly doesn't want to face. And then, slowly, almost reluctantly, he picks up the spoon. One taste. That's all it takes for everything to change. He does not swallow right away. The spoon lingers in his hand, hovering just inches from his lips like the weight of it is something more than metal and broth. Olivia does not move. She does not breathe. For a second, the entire kitchen feels suspended in time, like the house itself is waiting for his reaction. Then, slowly, he takes the smallest sip. His expression does not change at first. Still distant. Still guarded. But something flickers. It is subtle. So subtle most people would miss it. A pause. A blink that lasts half a second longer than normal. His grip on the spoon tightens, just slightly. Olivia notices. She always notices the small things. It is how she learned to survive in places where nobody had time to say what they really felt. He lowers the spoon, staring into the bowl like it is showing him something he did not expect to see. "What is this?" he asks quietly, not looking at her. His voice is different now. Less sharp, less closed off. Olivia swallows, unsure if she should speak, unsure if this is going well or terribly wrong. "It is just chicken soup," she says, almost apologetically. "Nothing special." He lets out a faint breath that almost sounds like a laugh, but it does not fully form. "Nothing special," he repeats, as if testing the words. Then, without another comment, he lifts the spoon again. This time, he takes a full bite. Then another. Olivia's chest tightens as she watches him, her mind racing, trying to understand what is happening. The man who said he does not eat is now standing in the middle of a silent, oversized kitchen, finishing. A bowl of something so simple it would not even make it onto a menu in this house. She takes a step back, giving him space, unsure if she is allowed to stay or supposed to disappear. The staff has vanished somewhere behind the walls, leaving her completely alone with him. When he finally sets the empty bowl down, the sound is soft, but it echoes. He does not thank her. He does not praise the food. He just stands there, staring at the counter, like he is trying to decide something he has not had to decide in a long time. Then he speaks again. You will come back tomorrow. It is not a question. Olivia blinks, caught off guard. I am not actually. She starts, the truth rising to the surface before she can stop it. But the moment stretches, and she sees it. That same flicker again. Not in his words this time, but in the silence that follows. Something fragile. Something she does not understand, but recognizes anyway. Need. He still has not looked at her directly, but his posture shifts, almost imperceptibly, like he is bracing for her to say no. Olivia hesitates. This is not her job. This is not her life. She is in the wrong place, wearing the wrong role, building something on a mistake that could collapse at any second. But then she thinks about the hospital bill again. The number that does not go away. The fact that she has nowhere else to be tomorrow anyway. Okay, she says quietly. That one word changes everything. He nods once, as if that settles it, then turns and walks out of the kitchen without another glance. Olivia stands there alone, staring at the empty bowl, her reflection faintly visible in the polished surface of the counter. She should feel relieved. She should feel lucky. Instead, a strange feeling settles in her chest. Because she knows one thing for certain now. This was never just about food. And whatever she just stepped into, it is not going to be simple. Olivia does not sleep much that night. The sound of the rain fades, but her thoughts do not. She lies on her small bed, staring at the ceiling with peeling paint, replaying the moment over and over again. The way he paused. The way he tasted the soup like it meant something. The way he said, "You will come back tomorrow," like it was not a request, but something closer to a need he did not want to admit. By morning, she is already awake before her alarm goes off, sitting at the edge of the bed with her phone in her hand, staring at the missed call from the hospital. She exhales slowly, steadying herself, then stands. This is not a dream. This is a decision. And she already made it. When she arrives at the mansion again, the gates open before she even presses the intercom, like someone has been watching for her. That alone sends a quiet chill down her spine. Inside, everything looks exactly the same. Perfect. Controlled. Too quiet. A woman in a tailored black suit meets her at the entrance this time, clipboard in hand, expression polite but distant. "You are on time today," she says, not unkindly, but not warm either. Olivia nods, unsure how to respond, still not certain what role she is supposed to be playing. The kitchen is prepared. The woman continues. "He will be down at 12. Olivia glances at the large clock on the wall. It is 11:45. 15 minutes. She steps into the kitchen again, and it feels different now. Yesterday, it felt overwhelming. Today, it feels expectant, like it is waiting for her to do something that matters. She sets her bag down in the same spot, rolls up her sleeves again, and takes a breath. This time, she does not hesitate. She moves with intention, opening cabinets, scanning ingredients, learning the space faster than she thought she could. But when she reaches for something expensive and unfamiliar, she stops. No, that is not what worked yesterday. She closes the cabinet. Simple. Real. She begins again. The rhythm returns to her quickly. Chop. Stir. Taste. Adjust. The scent builds slowly, filling the room in a way that feels alive, not staged. And for a moment, she forgets where she is. She forgets that she does not belong here. She is just cooking. At exactly 12, she hears footsteps. Slow. Measured. She does not turn right away. She finishes what she is doing, sets the spoon down, then looks up. He is already there, standing at the edge of the kitchen, watching her. Not cold this time. Not distant. Just watching. There is something different in his eyes. Today, less resistance, more curiosity. Neither of them speaks at first. The silence stretches, but it is not uncomfortable. It is something else. Something fragile. "You came back," he says finally, his voice quieter than yesterday. Olivia nods once. "You asked me to." He studies her for a second longer, like that answer matters more than it should. Then his gaze shifts to the stove, to the food she is preparing. "What is it today?" he asks. Olivia glances at the pot, then back at him. "You will have to try it," she says softly. And for the first time, something almost unnoticeable happens. The corner of his mouth moves. Not quite a smile, but close enough to change everything. He does not look away this time. His eyes stay on her, not in the distant, detached way from yesterday, but sharper now, like he is trying to understand something that does not fit into the version of the world he is used to. Olivia feels it immediately, that quiet shift. It makes her straighten just slightly, though she does not know why. She turns back to the stove, finishing the last step before plating, her movements steady but aware of his presence in a way she cannot ignore. "Sit," she says gently, nodding toward the counter, the words slipping out before she has time to second-guess it. For a brief moment, she wonders if she has crossed a line. But instead of reacting with irritation or dismissal, he does something unexpected. He listens. He walks over, slow and deliberate, and takes a seat. It is small, almost insignificant, but it is the first time she has seen him follow anyone's lead. She places the plate in front of him, not elaborate, not decorated for appearance, just warm, balanced, real. He studies it for a second, like he did yesterday, but there is less resistance now, less distance. "You are not like the others," he says suddenly, his voice low, almost to himself. Olivia pauses, her hands resting lightly on the counter. "The others," she repeats carefully. He picks up the fork, turning it slightly in his fingers before answering. "They try too hard," he says. "Everything looks perfect. Tastes like nothing." Olivia nods faintly, understanding more than she lets on. "Maybe they are cooking for the house," she says quietly. "Not for you." That makes him look up. Really look at her this time. There is a beat of silence, longer than before, heavier somehow. Then he takes a bite. This time, there is no hesitation, no pause. He eats. Slowly, thoughtfully, as if he is not just tasting the food, but remembering something through it. Olivia watches from a distance, not intruding, not asking questions. She has learned that some things do not need to be spoken to be understood. When he finishes, he does not push the plate away. He leaves it there, almost carefully, like it matters. "What is your name?" he asks, the question coming out of nowhere, but somehow long overdue. Olivia freezes for half a second. The truth sits right there, ready to come out. But so does everything else that follows it. The mistake, the lie, the fact that she is not supposed to be here at all. "Olivia," she says finally, her voice steady, giving him the one thing that is still real. He nods once, like he is filing it away somewhere important. "Olivia," he repeats, softer this time. Then, almost as if he is testing the ground beneath him, he adds, "Stay for dinner." The words hang in the air, simple but heavy with meaning. Olivia blinks, caught off guard again. "Dinner," she echoes. He stands, already turning away, but not as quickly as before. 6 o'clock, he says. "Cook whatever you want." And just like that, he leaves the room again. But something is different now. Not in the space. Not in the silence. In the way it feels. Olivia stands there, staring at the empty plate. Then at the door he just walked through. This was supposed to be one shift. One mistake. One night. But now there is a second invitation. A second chance to stay in a life that is not hers. And for the first time, she realizes she is no longer just trying to get through this. She is starting to wonder what happens if she does not leave. 6 o'clock feels different. The kitchen is quieter, the light outside fading into a soft amber glow that stretches through the tall windows and settles across the marble like something warm and almost human. Olivia stands alone at the counter, staring at the ingredients in front of her, her hands resting lightly against the cool surface as she tries to decide what to make. This is no longer just a meal. It is not about getting through a shift or earning a paycheck. Somewhere between yesterday and now, it became something else. Something she does not fully understand yet. She exhales slowly, then reaches for the simplest things again. Butter, garlic, fresh herbs. She works carefully, not rushing, letting the rhythm guide her the way it always has. Cooking was never about impressing people for her. It was about grounding herself when everything else felt unstable. And right now, she needs that more than ever. The sound of footsteps comes earlier than expected. She glances at the clock. 5:52. He is early. That alone tells her something has shifted. Ethan enters the kitchen without a word, stopping just a few feet away, closer than before. He does not sit this time. He leans slightly against the counter, arms relaxed, watching her work with a quiet intensity that makes her aware of every movement she makes. "You do not rush," he says after a moment, his voice low but not distant. Olivia shakes her head gently. "Rushing ruins it," she replies. "Food can tell." He studies her for a second longer, like that answer matters more than it should. And what does this one say? He asks, nodding toward the pan. Olivia glances down, then back at him. That someone should not eat alone, she says softly, before turning back to finish the dish. The words linger between them longer than either of them expects. For a moment, neither of them moves. Then, slowly, Ethan pulls out the chair and sits. No hesitation this time. No resistance. Olivia plates the food and sets it in front of him. Her movements calm, but her heartbeat anything but. He looks at the dish, then at her, like he is about to say something, but instead he just picks up the fork and takes a bite. There is no pause tonight. No uncertainty. He eats. And as he does, something in the room changes again. The silence is no longer empty. It feels shared. Olivia leans lightly against the counter, watching without staring, giving him space but staying present. After a few moments, he sets the fork down, not finished, but not stopping either. Who taught you? He asks, his voice quieter now, almost careful. Olivia hesitates, then answers honestly. My mom, she says. She used to say food is the only way to make people feel something without asking them to explain it. Ethan's gaze drops to the plate again, and for the first time, the wall around him does not just crack. It softens, just slightly. She was right, he says under his breath. Olivia does not respond. She does not need to. The moment sits there, fragile and real. When he finishes, he does something he has not done before. He looks directly at her, not past her, not through her. At her. Stay tomorrow, he says quietly. Not a command this time. Not quite a request either. Something in between. Olivia feels that same pull again, stronger now. This was never supposed to continue. She should have already walked away. But instead, she nods. And as she does, she realizes something that makes her chest tighten in a way she cannot ignore. She is not just staying because she needs the money anymore. She is staying because he needs her. And that might be the most dangerous part of all. By the third day, the routine begins to feel dangerous. Not because anything is wrong, but because it is starting to feel right. Olivia notices it the moment she steps through the gates again. They open without hesitation now, like the house already expects her. Inside, the silence is no longer cold. It is familiar. She walks into the kitchen without being guided this time, setting her bag down in the same spot, moving as if she belongs there, and that thought alone makes her pause. She should not feel comfortable here. She should not feel anything at all. But she does. And that is the problem. She starts preparing lunch, her hands moving automatically, but her mind is elsewhere, replaying the last few days, the small changes she cannot ignore. The way he listens now, the way he watches, the way he stays. At exactly 12, he appears again, but this time he does not stop at the doorway. He walks straight into the kitchen and stands beside the counter, closer than he has ever been. Olivia feels it immediately, that shift in distance, in presence. She does not look up right away. You are early, she says, keeping her voice steady. So are you, he replies. She glances at the clock. 11:58. He is right. She lets out a small breath, almost a quiet laugh, before turning to face him. For a moment, neither of them speaks. There is something unspoken building between them now, something neither of them has named. What are you making? He asks, softer than before. Something simple, she answers. Again, he nods, as if that is exactly what he expected. Good. The word is quiet, but it carries weight. She plates the food and sets it in front of him, but instead of stepping away, she stays where she is. Close enough to see the small changes in his expression, the way his shoulders are not as tense, the way his breathing is steadier. He takes a bite without hesitation now, then another. It is no longer about convincing him. It is something else, something deeper. You do not ask questions, he says suddenly, not looking at her. Olivia tilts her head slightly. Neither do you, she replies. That makes him pause, just for a second. Then, slowly, he sets the fork down. Most people ask who I am, he says. What I do, what I can give them. Olivia leans lightly against the counter, her arms relaxed. I am not most people, she says simply. He looks at her then, really looks, like he is trying to decide if that is true or just something she is saying. The silence stretches, but it is not uncomfortable. It feels honest. Why did you come back? He asks finally. The question lands differently this time. Not like an accusation. More like something he needs to understand. Olivia hesitates. The truth sits heavy in her chest. The bills. The fear. The mistake that started all of this. But that is not the whole truth anymore. At first, she begins slowly, choosing her words carefully. I needed the job. She sees it immediately. The smallest shift in his expression. Not disappointment. Something quieter. Something like expectation. She exhales softly. But that is not the reason anymore. Now he does not look away. Now he waits. Olivia meets his gaze, steady this time. I think you needed someone to stay, she says. The words hang in the air, heavier than anything she has said before. For a moment, everything goes still. His jaw tightens slightly, not in anger, but in something closer to being exposed. Like she just stepped into a place no one else has been allowed to go. You do not know anything about me, he says, his voice lower now. Olivia nods once. You are right, she says. But I know what it looks like when someone stops trying. That lands. She can see it, feel it. Something shifts behind his eyes, something deeper than anything before. He does not respond right away. Instead, he picks up the fork again, takes another bite, slower this time, like he is thinking about more than just the food. And for the first time, Olivia realizes something she did not expect. This is not just changing him. It is changing her too. And she does not know where it is going to stop. The words do not disappear after she says them. They stay there, hanging in the air between them like something fragile that could break if either of them moves too quickly. Ethan does not respond right away. He just sits there, his hand still wrapped around the fork, his gaze fixed somewhere between the plate and her, like he is trying to decide what to do with what she just gave him. Olivia feels it too. That shift. That moment where something real replaces everything controlled. She does not step back this time. She does not fill the silence. She lets it exist. After a long moment, he exhales slowly, almost like he has been holding his breath longer than he realized. People do not stay, he says finally, his voice quieter than she has ever heard it. It is not defensive. It is not cold. It is simply true. Olivia's chest tightens, but she does not look away. Sometimes they do, she replies softly. He shakes his head, just slightly, like he does not believe that. Not here, he says. His eyes flick briefly around the kitchen, the polished surfaces, the perfect order, the emptiness that suddenly feels more visible than before. Olivia follows his gaze for a second, then looks back at him. Maybe they just never had a reason to, she says. That lands deeper than anything else so far. She sees it immediately. The way his expression stills. The way his fingers loosen their grip on the fork. And you do, he says, almost as a question, even though he does not phrase it that way. Olivia hesitates. For the first time, she feels the weight of what she is doing. In a different way. Not just the lie. Not just the risk. But the connection forming underneath it. I think you gave me one, she says quietly. The honesty of that surprises even her. Ethan studies her again, longer this time, like he is searching for something he cannot quite name. There is no suspicion in his eyes. Not yet. Just something deeper. Something that looks dangerously close to trust. He looks back down at the plate, then takes another bite, slower now, more thoughtful. The rhythm is different. It is no longer about proving anything. It is about staying in the moment. Olivia watches him, and for the first time, she notices something she had not before. The way his shoulders are no longer rigid. The way his posture has softened just slightly, like the weight he carries is not pressing down as hard. It is small, almost invisible, but it is there. What happens when you leave? He asks suddenly, the question cutting through the quiet without warning. Olivia blinks, caught off guard. She had not let herself think that far ahead. She had been moving day by day, meal by meal, moment by moment. But now the question is here. And it matters. I have not thought about that yet, she admits. He nods once, like he expected that answer. But something in his expression shifts again, something more guarded this time. Not closed off, but aware. Like he just reminded himself of something important. Something that keeps him from stepping too far forward. You should, he says quietly. Olivia feels that. The distance returning, just a little. Not as strong as before, but enough to notice. Enough to change the air in the room. She straightens slightly, not retreating, but not pushing either. Maybe, she says. But not today. The words are simple, but they carry something steady with them. Something that does not rush toward the future or run from it. Just stays where it is. Ethan looks at her again, and this time, there is something new in his gaze. Not just curiosity, not just caution, Something warmer. Something that feels like it could grow into something neither of them is ready to name. He does not argue. He does not push. He just nods once, slowly, and goes back to eating. And in that quiet, unspoken agreement, Olivia realizes something that makes her breath catch just slightly. This is no longer just about him needing her to stay. It is about both of them choosing it. The next morning feels quieter in a way Olivia cannot explain. Not outside, not in the world beyond the gates, but inside her. The kind of quiet that comes when something shifts and there is no way to undo it. She arrives earlier than usual, not because she has to, but because she cannot ignore the pull anymore. The gates open instantly, and this time, she does not hesitate before stepping through. Inside, the house feels less like a place she wandered into and more like something she has started to understand. Not fully, not safely, but enough to recognize its silence is not emptiness. It is absence, and that changes everything. She moves through the kitchen with a calm she did not have before, setting things in place, preparing without second guessing. Today, she chooses something different. Not just simple, personal. She takes out ingredients she had quietly brought with her, wrapped carefully in her bag. Nothing expensive, nothing polished, just familiar. The kind of meal you make when you want someone to remember what it feels like to belong somewhere. She is halfway through when she hears his footsteps, slower than usual this time. Not rushed, not sharp, thoughtful. When she looks up, he is already there, standing in the doorway, watching her in a way that feels different again. There is no distance in it now. No wall, just attention. You brought your own ingredients, he says, noticing immediately. Olivia nods slightly. I wanted to make something that matters, she replies. He does not question it. He just steps closer, stopping beside the counter again. But this time there is no tension in the space between them. It feels shared. What does this one say? He asks quietly. Olivia glances down at the dish, then back at him. It says you are not as alone as you think, she answers. The words settle between them, deeper than anything before. Ethan does not respond right away. He just watches her, like he is trying to decide if he is allowed to believe that. When she finishes, she plates the food and sets it in front of him, her hands steady, her breathing calm even though her chest feels tight. He sits without being told now. No hesitation, no resistance. He takes a bite, slower than before, more deliberate. Then another. And something happens that Olivia does not expect. He does not look at the food this time. He looks at her, right at her, like the taste is not just in the dish, but in the moment itself. No one has cooked like this here, he says quietly. Olivia tilts her head slightly. Maybe no one stayed long enough to learn how, she replies. That lands again. But this time, it does not create distance. It creates something else. Ethan sets the fork down, not because he is finished, but because something else matters more in that moment. Why do you keep seeing me like that? He asks, his voice lower, more vulnerable than before. Olivia pauses, caught by the question, but not afraid of it. Because you are not hard to see, she says softly. You just stopped letting people try. The silence that follows is not empty. It is full of something neither of them has named yet, but both of them feel. Ethan looks away for a moment, his jaw tightening slightly, not in rejection, but in restraint, like he is holding something back. Then he exhales slowly and looks back at her, and this time, there is no wall left in his eyes. Just something open, something real. Stay tonight, he says quietly. Not dinner, not a meal. Just stay. Olivia feels her breath catch, just for a second. The line between what this is and what it is becoming shifts again, and she knows it. She should question it. She should stop. But she does not. Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being about a mistake and started becoming something neither of them is ready to lose. The word stays in the air long after he says it. Stay tonight. Not as a command, not even as a request. It sounds like something quieter, something that has been building for days and finally found its way out. Olivia does not answer right away. She cannot. Her hands rest against the counter, but she is no longer thinking about the kitchen or the food or even the reason she came here in the first place. She is thinking about the line they just crossed. Because this is different. This is no longer about meals or routines or unspoken understanding. This is something closer. Something that does not have a name yet, but carries weight. I should not, she says finally, her voice softer than she intends. Not firm, not certain, just honest. Ethan does not react the way she expects. He does not pull away. He does not shut down. He simply nods once, like he understands that answer before she even finishes saying it. I know, he replies quietly. And somehow, that makes it harder. The silence that follows is not tense, but it is full of everything neither of them is saying. Olivia looks down for a moment, trying to steady herself, trying to remember where she is, who she is supposed to be in this space. But when she looks back up, he is still there, still watching her, not with expectation, but with something more vulnerable than that. Hope. She exhales slowly. But I can stay a little longer, she adds, the words slipping out before she can stop them. And that is the moment everything shifts again. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. Ethan does not smile, not fully, but something in his expression softens in a way that feels real. He steps back slightly, giving her space without breaking the moment. That is enough, he says. The hours that follow feel different from anything before. There is no schedule now. No clear reason for her to be there other than the fact that she chose to stay. Olivia moves through the kitchen slowly, cleaning, organizing, not rushing to leave. Ethan does not disappear into another room this time. He stays. Not close, not hovering, just present. Sitting at the far end of the counter, watching her occasionally, but not in a way that feels heavy anymore. It feels calm. At one point, she notices him looking at the empty bowl from earlier, his fingers brushing lightly against the edge like it holds something more than just a memory of a meal. You are quiet tonight, she says gently, breaking the silence. He nods slightly, his gaze still on the counter. I am thinking, he replies. About what, she asks. He hesitates, just for a second, then looks at her again. About what happens when this ends. The words land deeper than anything else so far. Olivia feels it immediately, the truth behind them, the reality neither of them has fully faced yet. This cannot last forever. It was never supposed to last at all. She swallows, her chest tightening slightly, but she does not look away. Maybe it does not have to end the way you think, she says quietly. He studies her for a moment, like he wants to believe that, like he almost does. But there is something holding him back. Something she still does not know. Everything ends eventually, he says, not cold, not distant, just certain. Olivia shakes her head slightly, stepping closer without even realizing it. Not everything, she says. The space between them is smaller now. Not uncomfortable, not uncertain, just real. Ethan looks at her, really looks, and for a moment, it feels like he is about to say something more. Something important. But instead, he just exhales softly and leans back slightly, breaking the moment before it can go too far. You should go, he says quietly. Not because he wants her to, because he thinks he has to. Olivia stands there for a second longer, feeling the weight of that choice again. Stay or leave. Truth or silence. But tonight, she chooses something in between. She picks up her bag, moves toward the door, then pauses just before stepping out. I will be back tomorrow, she says, not asking, not waiting for permission. And for the first time, Ethan does not question it. He just nods. And as she walks out into the quiet night, Olivia realizes something that makes her breath catch. This is no longer just a place she entered by mistake. It is a place she is choosing to return to. And that choice is going to cost more than she is ready to pay. The next day does not feel the same. Olivia notices it before she even reaches the gates. There is a weight in her chest that was not there before, something heavier than nerves, something closer to truth pressing against everything she has been avoiding. She steps through the entrance, and for the first time, she hesitates. Not because she does not want to go in, but because she knows something has changed. Inside, the house is quieter than usual, but not in the calm way she has grown used to. This silence feels watchful. She moves into the kitchen, slower this time, her hands not immediately reaching for anything. She sets her bag down, but does not open it. Instead, she stands there, listening, like she is waiting for something she cannot name. The footsteps come later than usual. When Ethan finally appears, there is something different about him. Not distant, not cold, but guarded. The openness from last night is gone, replaced by something sharper, more controlled. He stops at the edge of the kitchen, not stepping in like he has been. The space between them feels wider again. Olivia notices immediately. You are late, she says softly, though it is not really about the time. He nods once. I had something to take care of, he replies. His voice is steady, but it lacks the quiet warmth it had started to carry. Olivia feels it. That shift. That pull backward. She swallows, steadying herself, then turns toward the counter, forcing her hands to move. She begins preparing the meal, but the rhythm is off. The silence between them is no longer shared. It is divided. "What are you making?" he asks after a moment, but the question sounds different now. More formal, like he is placing distance where there was none before. "Something simple," she answers, keeping her tone even. He nods, but does not say anything else. He does not move closer. He does not sit. He just stands there, watching, but not the same way as before. This time, it feels like he is observing, not connecting. Olivia finishes the dish and sets it on the counter, but she does not step back immediately. Something inside her pushes forward instead. "What happened?" she asks quietly. The question is simple, but it lands with weight. Ethan's expression stills slightly. He does not answer right away. Instead, he walks forward, slower than usual, and takes a seat without looking at her. He picks up the fork, but does not eat. "Not yet. You said something yesterday," he begins, his voice calm, but controlled. Olivia's breath catches slightly. "About people staying." She nods once, her eyes fixed on him now. He finally looks up, and this time, there is something new in his gaze. Not anger, not disappointment, something harder to read. "That is not how this works," he says quietly. The words land heavier than anything before. Olivia feels it immediately, the wall going back up, stronger than before. "Then how does it work?" she asks, her voice softer now, but steady. Ethan sets the fork down, untouched. "You come in," he says, his tone measured. "You do your job, and then you leave." The simplicity of it cuts deeper than anything else. Olivia's chest tightens, but she does not step back. "That is not what this has been," she says quietly. He shakes his head slightly, like he is correcting something that went too far. "That is what it needs to be." The words are firm, but there is something underneath them. Something that sounds less like certainty and more like protection. Olivia sees it, feels it, but that does not make it easier. "For who?" she asks. That question lingers longer than anything else. Ethan does not answer right away. His gaze drops to the plate again, then back to her, and for a moment, the wall slips. Just slightly. Enough for her to see it. The conflict underneath. The hesitation. Then it is gone. He picks up the fork again, finally taking a bite, but the moment has already changed everything. Olivia stands there, her hands resting against the counter, her heart pounding in a way that has nothing to do with fear. Because now she understands something she did not before. This was never just about him needing her. It is about him being afraid of what happens if he does. The air does not settle after his words. It tightens. Olivia feels it in the way her chest rises a little slower, in the way her hands stay still against the counter instead of moving like they usually do. She watches him take another bite, measured, controlled, like everything else about him right now. Not like before. Not like the man who paused over a spoonful of soup like it meant something. This feels different. This feels like a decision. "So that is it," she says quietly, not accusing, not emotional, just stating what he laid out. "I cook. You eat. And nothing else exists." Ethan does not look up immediately. He finishes the bite, sets the fork down carefully, like even that needs to be controlled. "That is what keeps things simple," he replies. Simple. The word lands wrong. Olivia exhales softly, shaking her head just slightly. "Simple does not mean real," she says. That makes him look at her. This time, there is something sharper in his gaze, not anger, but resistance. "Real complicates things," he says. Olivia takes a small step forward without thinking, closing a distance he just tried to create. "Or maybe it just makes them honest," she replies. Silence. Not empty. Not soft. This one carries weight. Ethan stands slowly, his chair sliding back just a few inches, the sound quiet but final. He walks around the counter, not close enough to touch, but close enough that the space between them feels intentional. "You are here because of a mistake," he says, his voice lower now, more direct. The truth hits exactly where she has been avoiding it. Olivia does not flinch, but something inside her tightens. "I know," she says. "Then do not turn it into something it is not," he continues. The words are steady, controlled, but there is something underneath them now. Not certainty. Fear. Olivia sees it clearly this time. And instead of stepping back, she holds her ground. "You think I am the one doing that," she says softly. That lands. He does not respond right away. Just looks at her, searching for something. Maybe a reason to believe she is wrong. Maybe a reason not to believe she is right. You invited me back, she continues, her voice still calm, still steady. You asked me to stay? His jaw tightens slightly. That was before, he says. Before what? She asks. This time, the silence stretches longer. He looks away first, just for a second, like he needs that break. Before I forgot how this ends, he says quietly. And there it is. Not anger. Not control. Fear of loss. Olivia feels it settle into place, everything making sense in a way it did not before. She softens, just slightly, her voice lowering to match his. You do not know how this ends, she says. You are deciding it before it even gets there. He shakes his head again, but slower this time, less certain. I have seen enough to know, he replies. Olivia studies him for a long moment, then exhales. Then why does it feel like you are trying to stop something you actually want? She asks. That question lands deeper than anything else. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. But it goes exactly where he has been avoiding. Ethan goes still, completely still. For a moment, there is no wall, no control, no distance. Just him. And it is enough to make the silence feel louder than any argument. But then it happens. The shift back. He steps away. Just one step, but it is enough. Enough to rebuild the space. Enough to put the line back where he thinks it belongs. Finish your work, he says quietly, his voice controlled again. Not cold, but closed. Olivia stands there, watching him retreat without turning his back fully, like he cannot quite do that anymore. And in that moment, she realizes something that changes everything. This is not over. This is not him pushing her away because he does not feel anything. It is him pulling back because he does. And that means the hardest part is just beginning. Olivia does not move right away after he steps back. The distance he creates lingers in the space between them, but it no longer feels like something she has to accept without question. This time, she sees it clearly for what it is. Not rejection, not indifference. Protection. She exhales slowly, grounding herself, then turns back toward the counter. For a few moments, she does exactly what he asked. She finishes her work. Quietly, carefully, but something has shifted inside her, and she knows it. Because now she understands that staying silent will not keep this simple. It will only make it incomplete. When she finishes, she does not reach for her bag. She does not walk toward the door. Instead, she turns back to him. He is standing near the window now, looking out at the long stretch of empty driveway, his posture controlled again, but not as steady as he wants it to seem. I am not going to pretend this is just a job, she says quietly. Her voice does not rise. It does not need to. The words carry on their own. Ethan does not turn immediately. He stays where he is, like he is deciding whether to respond or let it pass. But Olivia does not give him that option this time. You can call it a mistake, she continues. You can say I should leave when this is done. But that is not what this became. That makes him turn. Slowly. His expression is not closed this time. It is conflicted. And that is enough. You do not get to decide that, he says, but there is less certainty in it now. Olivia steps forward, not aggressively, not forcefully, just enough to hold the space between them. Then who does? She asks. You, he answers immediately. The word is sharp, but not angry. This is your world, she says. Your rules. Your distance. She pauses, her voice softening just slightly. But you are the one who broke them first. That lands harder than anything else. Ethan's gaze drops for a second, then lifts again, and this time there is no denial in it. Just hesitation. Just truth he does not want to say out loud. I let it go too far, he says quietly. Olivia shakes her head, just once. No, she says. You let it become real. Silence. Deep. Unavoidable. It stretches between them, but neither of them looks away. Not this time. And that is exactly why it has to stop, he says finally. The words come slower now, heavier, like he is forcing them into place. Olivia feels it, the push again, the attempt to return everything to something safe and distant. But she does not step back. You are not stopping it, she says softly. You are running from it. That hits. Not loudly, but directly. Ethan's breath catches just slightly, barely noticeable, but she sees it. And for a moment, the control slips again. Just enough. You think staying makes this easier, he says. I think leaving makes it worse, she replies. The truth sits between them, undeniable now. He looks at her, really looks, And for the first time since this started, there is no wall, no roll, no distance left in his eyes. Just a question he has not answered yet. Olivia takes a small breath, steadying herself. I am not asking you to promise anything, she says. I am not asking you to change everything overnight. She pauses, her voice softer now, but stronger at the same time. I am asking you to stop deciding the ending before it even begins. The words settle. Heavy. Final. Ethan does not respond immediately. He cannot. Because for the first time, he does not have a controlled answer ready. And Olivia sees it. The hesitation. The conflict. The possibility. She holds his gaze for a second longer, then slowly steps back. Not because she is giving up. Because she has said what needed to be said. She reaches for her bag this time, her movements calm, deliberate. But before she turns to leave, she looks at him one last time. I will come back tomorrow, she says quietly. Not asking, not waiting, just stating a choice. And this time, he does not stop her. But he does not look away either. And as Olivia walks out, she knows something has finally shifted in a way that cannot be undone. Because now, the truth is no longer hidden between them. It is out. And what happens next will depend on whether he is ready to face it. The next morning, the silence feels different again. Not heavy, not uncertain, just waiting. Olivia stands outside the gates for a moment longer than usual, her hand resting lightly against the cold metal as she takes a steady breath. This time, she knows exactly what she is walking into. Not a mistake, not a roll, a choice. The gates open slowly, not instantly like before, and for a second, she wonders if he is still deciding too. But then she steps forward anyway. Inside, the house feels less distant than it ever has. Not because it changed, because she did. She walks into the kitchen without hesitation, placing her bag down, her movements calm, grounded. She does not rush to start cooking. She waits. And this time, he does not make her wait long. When Ethan appears, he does not stop at the doorway. He does not keep his distance. He walks straight into the kitchen and stops only a few feet away from her, close enough that there is no space left for avoidance. For a moment, neither of them speaks. There is no script for this part. No safe version of what comes next. Just truth. You came back, he says quietly, but this time, it is not surprise. It is recognition. Olivia nods once. I said I would. He studies her, longer than before, like he is finally allowing himself to see her without holding anything back. Then he exhales, slow and steady, like he is letting go of something he has been holding on to for too long. I almost told them not to let you in, he admits. The honesty in that lands harder than anything else. Olivia does not step back. But you did not, she says. He shakes his head slightly. No, silence settles again, but it is different now. Not tense. Not divided. It feels like something has finally aligned. Ethan glances at the counter, then back at her. What are you making today? He asks. But the question carries something new. Not curiosity. Not distance. Something softer. Something open. Olivia allows a small breath to escape, almost a quiet smile. Something simple, she says. But this time you help. That catches him off guard. She can see it immediately. I do not cook, he replies. You did not eat either, she answers gently. That lands. He pauses, then lets out a faint breath that almost sounds like a quiet laugh. The tension in his shoulders loosens, just slightly. What do you need me to do? He asks. And just like that, everything changes. Olivia steps closer, placing a knife and a cutting board in front of him. Start with this, she says. His hands hesitate for a second before he reaches for it, like he is stepping into something unfamiliar. Not uncomfortable, just new. They move slowly at first. No rush, no pressure, just small, quiet moments shared between them. The sound of chopping, the soft hum of the stove. The space between them no longer feels like something to measure. It feels like something they are building. At one point, their hands brush briefly as they reach for the same ingredient. It is nothing dramatic, but neither of them pulls away immediately. They just pause, then continue. When the food is ready, they do not separate. They sit at the counter together, not across from each other, side by side. Ethan takes the first bite, then looks at her, not with hesitation, not with distance, but with something clear. Stay, he says quietly. This time, it is not about tonight, not about a moment. It is something bigger. Olivia meets his gaze, her heart steady now, not racing. I will, she replies. And for the first time since this started, There is no uncertainty in it. Because this is no longer about a mistake that brought them together. It is about a choice they are both finally ready to make.